you will find a lost
Thank you.
Beautiful.
That one's got a good story.
I was just telling Hannah.
Yeah, I should tell you the story. This is a really good story, and it's the truth. When I wrote this song, my husband at the time, we had, I won't say lost custody, we had joint custody of his daughter. We had had a child since then, but we moved to Louisiana, and her mother wouldn't let her come see us. And we had a real battle on our hands. It was a real problem. We tried to see her, she kept her away from us, just a big, long, drawn-out thing. 10 years go by, we've tried all kinds of communication. I've sent letters, I've sent gifts, all these things, trying to communicate with her. And she was 5 years old. I had her from 5 to 9. Is when I had her before he and I got married. And the story is that we got to a point in Louisiana where we needed to move back to Texas. So we moved back to Texas, and we hadn't had communication with this child for 10 years. It was heartbreaking, but there was nothing we could really do. We didn't have the money to fight it in court. We couldn't chase her down. It was just, we didn't even know where she was. So my husband at the time, that's where the Sims came from, my husband at the time was in construction, and we were in Burleson, Texas, which is a small town south of Fort Worth, and he went to Burleson, Texas to get some cards printed. It just so happened that the person that printed her cards was Carrie's stepdaddy. And he gave her one of his cards, and she called us. And that's how this song came up. It was just a miracle.
Yeah.
It was a weird miracle. And at the same time when I wrote this song, also, do you remember the Elizabeth Smart, the girl that was kidnapped, that played the harp, this beautiful child?
Yeah.
She played the harp, she did all the crazy things. She had just been released. And so that kind of, it was just one of those songs that it just kind of fit, for that.
I knew it had to be a great story.
It is a
because
good
it's
story.
So emotional.
It is. When I first wrote it, I just bawled. I bawled and bawled. It took me a while to even get through the song, and then finally, I could get over it. Every now and then I get a little choked up, but
Yeah.
it's still, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's neat.
it's got a good story.
Good story.
It's got a real good story. Okay.
They all have stories.
Huh?
They all have stories.
They all have a story, but sometimes you gotta tell a story.
Next one's a pretty
That's a
song
good
too.
Yeah, where do you go home? Yeah.
This one I like really well.
Yeah. This one, I did pull out of the archives because I hadn't played it in like 20, 30 years. I don't know. I had recorded it on the Just Rain recording. That was done with a gentleman in Fort Worth, Texas. His name was Charlie Campbell, and he was a fabulous pianist, and he had his own little home studio, and he worked at the Petroleum Club, which was a big high-end, top of the 40th floor, nice restaurant, and he was a band director. I was a waitress. I was a server, which when I say waitress, I was in a waiter's jacket, tuck shirt, bow tie, and I was one of the only female waitresses on the main dining floor. But anyway, we got to talk about music, and I always gravitate to the musicians, so we got to talk about it, and I said, I really need to get some recording done. I never had the money to really do the studio thing, except that it's about time I put a bunch of money in there. But he said, well,